The OnePlus Nord 3 is an advance over the company's previous edition, the OnePlus Nord 2T, which is both expected and appreciated. Rather than taking a whatever is in the parts bin approach as it did in previous years, OnePlus has made an effort to put the Nord 3 in line with what consumers anticipate from a 2023 mid-ranger. The OnePlus Nord 3 is one of the major updates to the OnePlus Nord series in recent years and offers improvements in all of the necessary places. It is one of the most significant changes to the OnePlus Nord line in recent years. OnePlus is maintaining its competitive edge in the market by upgrading the primary camera sensor to the same flagship module as the OnePlus 11. Whether it be the choice of processor or the quality of manufacturing, the phone maintains its premium mid-range orientation throughout. But before starting, make sure to like the video and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. And now, let's get started. That isn't to suggest that the OnePlus Nord 3 should be written off as just another basic mid-range device, though. The somewhat intrusive camera module that was present on the OnePlus Nord 2T has been removed, and in its place, the OnePlus Nord 3 features a design that is noticeably more straightforward and, as a consequence, more elegant. The glass back is available in both a glossy and a matte finish, and the squared-off mid-frame is coated in an equally attractive matte finish for improved grip. As a result of its IP54 classification, it can withstand being submerged in water. Although unlike the Samsung Galaxy A54 5G and Pixel 7, it cannot withstand being submerged for an extended period. You will, however, discover amenities such as the classic OnePlus Alert slider and an infrared blaster at the top of the device that can control televisions and other appliances. The front is where you'll see the most significant differences emerge. Screen size has been significantly increased to 6.74 inches, and the resolution has correspondingly been increased to 1.5 carats. The first iteration of the OnePlus Nord was one of the pioneering smartphones to introduce a high refresh rate panel to the mid-range market. To keep up with the pace of the competition, the refresh rate on the Nord 3 has been increased to 120 Hz. To preserve the life of the battery, the screen has a refresh rate of no less than 40 Hz, even though it is not an LTPO panel. Having said that, I haven't experienced any issues with the display quality. Both in the strong sunlight and under cloudy skies, I was able to see it without any problems. The default color accuracy tends to be on the oversaturated side right out of the box. It's not gaudy at all. In fact, the bright colors appeal to me. However, selecting one of the built-in Pro modes makes switching to a tone that is more neutral than the default a breeze. HDR support has been somewhat inconsistent on recent hardware from OnePlus, but I'm delighted to report that the Nord 3 performs well in this regard. The Grand Tour looked amazing in all of its HDR grandeur, but it brought to light the imbalanced stereo speaker output very clearly. The chipset represents the most significant improvement, as one would expect. The company's gimmick, whether for better or for worse, is to provide excellent performance for your money, and the MediaTek Dimensity 9000 does not fail in this regard. The performance can be backed up by up to 16 GB of RAM. But what's more important is that Oxygen OS now behaves well with how it handles apps running in the background. During my week using the phone, I did not come across any incorrect force shuts. In a similar vein, video games perform exactly as admirably as one might expect them to, and I wasted more time than I ought to have tried out Call of Duty Mobile with all of its settings turned to the highest possible levels. The phone became noticeably hot to the touch after a few intense sessions, but I didn't detect any thermal throttling when I was playing the game inside. Additionally, the phone cools off quickly. Because this is a OnePlus phone, there are a few lingering problems. The most obvious manifestation of this was the typing experience, in which I persistently noticed a trace of delay. It wasn't enough to prevent me from typing, but it did take me a few seconds to get acclimated to the new environment. After the product has been released, I anticipate OnePlus will issue an update that addresses this issue. When it comes to software upgrades, OnePlus is committed to providing the OnePlus Nord 3 with 3 significant updates and 4 years' worth of security fixes, which is an adequate level of support for a device in this price range. OnePlus continues to use the tried-and-true camera setup, which consists of a primary camera with high quality, an average 8MP ultra-wide shooter, and a practically useless 2MP sensor. The camera on the Nord 3 is the same 50MP IMX890 sensor that is seen on the flagship OnePlus 11 and the more current Nothing Phone 2. This is one of the features that the Nord 3 has stolen from the OnePlus 11. Although it does not feature the Hasselblad tuning found on the flagship model, this is not a significant drawback. OnePlus has opted for a color profile that is slightly more vibrant and does a fairly decent job of keeping fine detail and textures in its products. The algorithms for reducing noise aren't overly aggressive, and there isn't any obvious smearing as we've seen on previous OnePlus smartphones. In HDR images, the level of sharpness in the details, as well as the great control over the highlights, particularly pleased me. The portrait mode has also been improved, and the phone does an excellent job of simulating a depth-of-field look. The shutter lag, on the other hand, is a major letdown, and photographing subjects that are moving is almost always an exercise in frustration. The ultra-wide shooter has a discernible step down in quality when placed next to the primary camera. The OnePlus Nord does a good job of keeping the camera's sharpness and details, but the camera's high noise levels are a clear drawback. The limited resolution of the macro camera, on the other hand, makes it practically unusable. By following the link that we have provided to our Google Drive folder, you will be able to see full-resolution examples taken with the OnePlus Nord 3 camera. If you are a serious mobile videographer, the OnePlus Nord 3 probably isn't going to be your top choice. While it is capable of recording at up to 60 frames per second, there is no stabilization at all for 4K images. The situation is improved by lowering that resolution to 1080p, but the trade-off is an off-color cast of red. In addition, the selfie camera can only record in 1080 at 30 frames per second. I had high expectations for the 5000 mAh battery that was included with the OnePlus Nord 3, but they were not met in any way. Whenever I woke up, the first thing I did was check my various social media accounts and put on some music on Spotify. In addition to that, I streamed hours of music and spent a significant amount of time going through my email and reading RSS feeds on Redefine. Last but not least, before calling it a day, I play a few games of Call of Duty Mobile. Before going to bed on most days, I had to connect my OnePlus Nord 3 to the charging dock one last time. Even though I spent more time using my smartphone than the average person since I was testing it, I seldom, if ever, went over 6 hours of screen time in a single session. Thank goodness, charging the phone at 80 Go, which takes roughly 35 minutes to bring it from 0% to 100%, is a relatively speedy process. And that's it for today. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, subscribe to our channel and we'll see you next time.